few months ago, I shared an analysis on the Hal Leonard arrangement of John Williams's Flag Parade cue from the first Star Wars prequel, The Phantom Menace. With these types of articles and videos, the objective is to unearth structure, concepts and techniques of composition via analysis. Occasionally, as I present today, I like to try and double down on those composition technique articles and videos by composing something based on that analysis. The aim of these pieces is not to create a pastiche of the original composer necessarily, but to combine my inclinations with the concepts and techniques discovered in the analysis video. Undertaking this process will, hopefully, provide two things. One, a deeper understanding of the analysed piece itself, and two, an opportunity to develop our skills as composers by revising those techniques and concepts we discovered and trying to put them into practice. In today's article, I will be reflecting on my effort to compose an original composition that takes John Williams's Flag Parade as its model. To do this as clearly as possible, I will compare the different sections of my work with Williams's. Starting first with the main sections, I will compare the main themes of the two pieces and the creative decisions that I made. In the following sections, I will look at the smaller parts of the composition, which were surprisingly more challenging to compose. Lastly, I will discuss briefly the tonal structure of the work and how I deviate from Williams's piece, and why. Before discussing and comparing the two pieces, let's hear my composition. In terms of arrangement, I paralleled the breakdown I created of Williams's composition quite closely. For example, I used two core themes, one of which is used more extensively in different keys. This theme is called Theme A, and is a melody I composed several years ago. I saw this composition lesson as an opportunity to purge the idea and get it out of my system finally. Theme A is very much my melody and is in 6/8 rather than 2/4. It also does not undertake chromatic modal inflections like Williams's Theme A. Instead, it is broader, featuring a compact series of motifs. The clearest similarities with Williams's Theme A is the textual setting and the orchestration when it appears. Williams uses a heavily doubled harmonic pedal underneath his melody. I do something similar using 4 horns, 2 clarinets and violas on the melody, and then 2 bassoons, contrabassoon, timpani, piano, divided cellos and double basses on the bass pedal. For the repeat of Theme A, which is a minor third upwards, I delay the movement of the harmonic pedal to the tonic note just like Williams. However, due to where my harmony ends after the fanfare transition, that we'll discuss shortly, I start my pedal on the dominant note, D, rather than the raised submedian E. Theme B, composed specifically for this piece, counterpoints Theme A. Just like how Williams creates a less rhythmically stable theme to juxtapose his Theme A, I also orchestrate my idea top-heavily and ensure smaller note durations fall on the stronger beats of the bar. I also switch the meter of my Theme B from 6/8 to 3/4, altering the division of the bar. Due to all these things, it contrasts Theme A greatly in my opinion, just as John Williams's Theme A and B contrast each other well too. I still think this melody is very much my own. However, I do think out of the two themes it gets closest to what Williams may have written due to its rhythmic qualities and me obviously taking a leaf out of Williams's book regarding the juxtaposition of a more rhythmically stable theme and a more rhythmically unstable theme. Furthermore, while Williams doesn't do this in his composition, my decision to use imitative fragments of the melody as part of the bass accompaniment feels like something he might well have done in something else, a different piece, for instance. For example, he uses imitative, almost fugal counterpoint in March of the Resistance from the 7th Star Wars film, The Force Awakens. In addition to the two themes that Williams's Flag Parade boasts, there are two types of fanfare, labelled Fanfare 1 and Fanfare 2. There's also a coda and an introductory section that appears twice, the introductory section that is once at the beginning, and again to transition into the final repetitions of Theme A. My Fanfare 1 sections are similar to Williams's in that I use brass, triple-tongued planing figures. By planing I mean triads that move in parallel motion with one another, so all the voices of a triad move up and down in parallel or sometimes similar motion. However, I also mix in other voicings and use great chromaticism. For instance, Williams largely plays around the tonic chord of D major, using flat leading tone and flat supertonic chords. Whereas I, unbound by the presence of a film, afford myself some greater adventures. For example, in the first of the Fanfare 1 sections, each chord change is as follows: E, A flat, E, A flat, E, E flat or D sharp, E, D, C sharp, D, C, D, C, D, D flat or C sharp, C, D. The progression I use is much more chromatic, as we can see, but also has qualities similar to Williams's progression. For example, I also tonicize a chord by moving between tonic and forms of supertonic and leading note chords. So we're sort of dancing around the tonic. Toward the end of the section, for instance, I use chords D, which you can see as the tonic, E as the supertonic, C as the flat 7, and C sharp as the 7, natural 7 leading tone. The other point of divergence, like with many sections of my piece, is the orchestration. I do this more empathically without deeper analysis, embracing those ambiguities again. In other words, I accept the limitations of my understanding of Williams's piece to allow, my own creative choices to take shape. Therefore, unlike my London Bridge Farandole arrangement, where I closely recast the orchestration, in this experiment the orchestration was imitated from a distance and sometimes ignored altogether. Fanfare 1 is one of those sections, particularly in its E major form. In the E major sections, the orchestrations is less frilly than my other Fanfare 1 sections, and Williams's is Fanfare 1 sections in general. The two Fanfare 2 sections, which are different to each other, serve as transitions in my composition. Weirdly, they were the most challenging sections to write. I'm unsure why, and I remain unconvinced with the quality of these sections even now. My guess is that I do not ordinarily think of transitions as a section, but something that happens and is something that I usually bake into the ending of an idea. So, theme 1, for instance, normally I'd probably have that transition organically into something else at the end of it. Here, on the other hand, I was forced into doing something different, which was good, albeit challenging. My first Fanfare 2 is quite different to Williams's in that it happens after theme B, whereas Williams's fanfare merges out of his theme B idea. In this instance, Williams was more organic than I was able to be. In this way, I think this gives Williams's first fanfare a feeling that things are occurring naturally, where in mine it's not, and that's probably one of the areas that I'm less happy with. For the second Fanfare 2, both mine and Williams's use drum rolls to abruptly transition into them. I feel like the shifts here for Williams are purely pragmatic, facilitating transitions within the confines of what the film would allow, and these were just changed and transitioned into the Hal Leonard arrangement. Despite this, I followed suit, as I thought again that it would make me do something different structurally that I probably wouldn't have done ordinarily. Like with the second Fanfare 2, the introduction, which appears twice, imitates Williams's fanfares and introduction on a more cursory level. Something that I did deliberately to avoid a straight copy, which is not what I wanted to do, obviously. I attempted to copy general orchestration gestures via simple observations of the score. I felt this allowed me the comfort of relying on, the quality decisions that John Williams has made, while also coming up with my own ideas within that safety net. For the tonal structure of my piece, I largely follow my analysis of John Williams's Flag Parade. However, I opted to place my composition a major second higher. I did this to ensure the repeat of theme A would be in the key that I originally composed it, G minor. Furthermore, starting in G minor and following Williams's tonal progression would mean that orchestrations of the melody would either be very high or low in the ideal instruments, horns or trumpets. My only deliberated deviation from Williams's Flag Parade beyond transposition was to place the final repeat of theme A into the major subdominant rather than the minor, so I end in A major rather than A minor. I did this because I liked the effect that Giroud created in his arrangement of Bizet's La Liaison Farandole. Modulating to the parallel major, it was an uplifting and heroic effect, in my opinion. Therefore, I use major to try and create a similar uplifting finale to my piece, which I think it creates quite well. The intent of this exercise was not to write a pastiche, nor was it to write something necessarily that was good, although that would be nice. The aim was to practice composition, arranging and orchestration by copying aspects of Williams's Flag Parade from the Star Wars 1, the Phantom Menace film. Some parts of my piece work very well, providing me with things to reapply in future. For example, the overall structure balances the economy of writing and fresh material very well, in my opinion. Therefore, using this design again or adapting it could be a good approach for a future composition should I need to impose structure to help me compose, which was good in this instance. It helped me compose this piece quicker than I might have done, trying to build it out from nothing. Other sections and things worked less well, such as the smaller scale writing of my Fanfare 2s, which could do with more work and some revision, I think. Although I do like the A major shift at the end, I do wonder whether I pose it quite abruptly. It might have been better to have let that unfold, or the modality rather unfold gradually through the section as opposed to confirming it abruptly, as I say, with a brass A major chord. Then again, I might like the shift as well, so yeah, decisions.